So today's video is actually going to be a little bit different than what I was initially planning on, because I was going to do a Camp NaNoWriMo update, but I've had a couple of clients I've been working with this week, so I actually haven't been doing as much writing as I planned on. I don't think it's going to be beneficial to talk about that at the moment. I'll still do a recap later this month, but let's talk instead about books. Hi, I'm Karina. I'm a self-published author of 2 books, and as an author, I think that it's really important for authors to uplift other authors in the community as well. And so one thing I want to do on this channel is talk about books and books that I've read and books that I would recommend by other people and not just my own, so that way I can share in my love of books with you guys and hopefully introduce you to some really fun authors, and hopefully you guys can introduce me to some new ones in the comments below. So I'd like to do a monthly video on books that I read in the previous month, but because I haven't done that yet, I'm just going to pick some of the books that I read from earlier this year, and we can talk about those. But this isn't going to be like a lot of review channels that you see. There's a lot of controversy on whether authors belong in reviewer space, and I fully understand those concerns. And so because of that, I'm not going to give actual reviews on the books. I'm not going to give like a star review on the books or anything like that. What I'll do is give kind of a short synopsis of the book and talk instead about who I think would enjoy that book, because whether I enjoyed it is irrelevant, because there is an audience for that book, no matter my opinions on it or not. So what we'll do instead is just go through who I think would like that book, and hopefully we can all add some more books to our TBRs. As a reader, I enjoy books of multiple genres, mostly fantasy, but you'll see some others pop up as well in some of these videos, as well as maturity content. And so I will talk about books that do have some spice ratings as well as swearing, but I'll try to make sure that I let you know, so that way I know there are people who follow me who enjoy no spice reads, and I do read those as well. So there'll be a mix of the two, and you can kind of pick or choose any that work for you, or if you've read them, obviously let me know down below what you thought about it. The first book I have is A Throne of Shadows. This is about a girl who is accused of murdering the queen and the princess of one of the kingdoms in a fantasy world. And so she's an outlaw on the run, but she soon has to leave the safety of the home that she's kind of made for herself when she finds out that the newly found unicorns, who everyone thought were gone, have reappeared and are in danger. And along comes our prince from another kingdom who is about to ruin all of her plans. People who will like this book are people who enjoy fantasy world with sassy animal side characters, hidden identities, and evil sorcerers. The spice level for this book is none. I believe there was maybe one kissing scene, if I remember. There may not even have been that. But spice level is very low. This is appropriate for no spice readers and for like teens and young adults. The second book is A Taste of Gold and Iron. This is one of my favorite books of all time. I have read this book twice now. It is a beautiful fantasy world. Our Prince Cadeau thinks that the worst thing in the world would be being a burden to his loved ones and his sister, who is the Sultan. But he finds that he is exactly that when he gets caught up in a violent accident with her lover, and then is kind of shunned from the palace and has to try to redeem himself and has to discover who is making counterfeit money, along with his new stone-faced guard, Evamir, who he thinks cannot hate him more but will become his greatest ally and, in my opinion, the greatest love of all time. People who are going to like this book are ones that like slow burn romance, complex characters, as well as a well thought out fantasy world and simple magic system. I don't know if magic system is even the right way to explain it, but there is like some slight abilities that people have, and anxiety representation. Prince Cadeau is definitely an anxiety rep, and I feel like done in a very tasteful and realistic manner. Spice level for this one, there is some kissing scenes as well as one on the page explicit content near the end that is easily skippable if somebody would like to still read the book as a whole and skip that one part. The Inkworld series. This is a middle grade series about Meggie and her father, where they really live a perfect life just with the two of them until one day Meggie sees a strange man standing outside of her house. Then her and her father end up on the run and are swept into a world that is a mix between reality and fiction. And Maggie discovers that her father's been hiding a lot from her and has to now try to master these new powers that she has discovered. People who are going to like these books are ones who like middle grade fiction. Uh, Again, simple magic system or powers, the fight of good versus evil, and redemption character arcs, in my opinion. I think there's a pretty good one in there. Spice levels, because they're middle grade, there is no spice. I think in the later book or two, there's some slight kissing between Maggie and a love interest, but again, very appropriate for young adult readers. The Shepherd King duology is about Elspeth, a girl who houses a monster within herself and has to fight to not become one. This is in the Dark Kingdom of Blunder, who has a really unique magic system that revolves around Providence cards. Elspeth finds herself sucked into a plot to overthrow the king by finding all the Providence cards, which each grant their user unique abilities and powers, but with magic that comes at a cost. People who will like this book are ones who like really unique magic systems, gothic vibes, and a romance between side characters. There is the romance between the leads, obviously, but later on, there's a couple side characters that really kind of become more important to the plot, and their romance was my favorite. I loved theirs. The spice level for this book is some. It doesn't take up a lot of the plot as a whole, but there were, I believe, 2 or 3 within both books on the page scenes. The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue. This is again one of my favorite books. I've reread this one a couple of times now. Addie is a French girl who makes a deal with an old god or the darkness, however you want to describe it, to escape what she views as a meaningless life, to live forever so that way she can experience everything she wants to. But along with that comes a curse where everybody who she ever meets will forget her until one day, about 300 years later, when Addie meets a young man who does remember her and seems immune to her curse. We follow Addie back and forth between modern day and her journeys, the good and the bad that she's gone through, and it is a very beautiful, poetic story. People who will like this one are people who like historical fiction. Beautiful prose, very beautiful prose, and kind of poetic vibes almost. Stubborn heroines, and a tragically beautiful love story. Spice levels, there are some on the page spice. Again, it's not important to the plot, but it is there. The next book is A Ghost of a Caribou. This is the 3rd book in a thriller series centering around Alex Carter. I believe she's a biologist. She studies and helps observe animal behavior. With this one, she gets shipped out to the remote mountain forests of Washington to try to see if she can find the mountain caribou that they believe was spotted coming down from Canada. They are not in the US, and so this is a pretty big deal for her. But when she gets there, the town is not inviting to her at all, and it becomes even more guarded when the body of a park ranger is discovered. This park ranger who was missing for about a year. And then Alex, while trying to still find the caribou, finds herself sucked into a plot of danger and lies and terrible things happening, and she has to try to help uncover it and find out who she can trust. This was, again, the 3rd book. I love the other 2 books as well. They're really quick, nice thriller reads. People who will enjoy them are, again, people who like kind of quick, easy reads. Main characters who make smart decisions, especially in thrillers. Sometimes that's hard to find, and I feel like Alex makes really intelligent decisions. And then people who enjoy wildlife and learning about them. Because Alex is a biologist, we always get really cool wildlife facts as we go through this, and I can tell the author put in a lot of work towards that. Spice level, there is no spice in this. There is some swearing, though. And then last but not least, we have Vow of Thieves. This is the 2nd book in the Dance of Thieves duology. This is kind of a branch-off series from the Kiss of Deception, if you have read those. This is really good. I love this duology and this book in particular. It follows our 2 leads, Kazi and Jace, as they are trying to journey back to Jace's homeland and find themselves separated and sucked into, again, a plot full of betrayal and taking over. It's also full of found family and actual family and almost a redemption arc in a way, again, for some of the characters, and is full of action and a lot of excitement. Uh, People who are going to like this one are people who like family and found family bonds, betrayal and political plots, and then self proclaimed enemies to lovers. I hesitate to say enemies to lovers a lot of the time because I think there's a lot of controversy for, again, what actually makes that, but they are self proclaimed enemies and then end up lovers. The spice levels for this is some kissing and then fade to black. So you are aware that it happens, but they don't show any of the spice on page. Those were just some of the books that I've read so far this year. I hope you heard a couple new ones that maybe you are interested in adding to your list. And if you've read any of those or you know of any similar to them, definitely let me know down below. I'm always looking for more books to add to my list, especially audiobooks. If you know of good audiobooks by amazing narrators, please let me know. That is my main way of reading right now, and I always need more of those. Join me next week. I will definitely be doing a NaNoWriMo update kind of for the whole month and how it went. And then we also will jump back into publishing next month as well as continuing updates with the books. Thanks for joining me today. Bye.